Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you very, very much for being here. If you missed Monday's video, this is sort of part two. I did mini trajectory readings on Pam Bondi, Marco Rubio, RFK Jr., and Hegseth. Today, I'm going to do minis on key dems. So we're looking at Jasmine Crockett, Jamie Raskin, AOC, and Cory Booker. There's lots and lots more. Those are the ones I'm going to focus on today. So I don't want to dawdle here because I want to get this done because I'm cramming 4 little minis into a compressed space. But before I do that, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your very insightful and smart questions and your lovely comments. I appreciate all of it. For anybody looking for a reading, in the drop box below is that email address, soulprint888@gmail.com. So you know, when I do a reading, I use my cards, I use my pendulum, I use direct channeling, and I use mediumship if it's applicable. And the readings tend to run sort of 55, 60 minutes in there. So, just if you're wondering what I'm able to do for you on a private reading, there you go. Let's take a look at Jasmine Crockett. She's quite the little firecracker, isn't she? I have to say, I'm just putting this out there. I know that there's been sort of some quiet talk about Jasmine Crockett running for a leadership position in the next election. I sincerely hope she does not do that. Same with AOC. Um, and not because they're women, but because they're still new to the game. And when you try to jump the queue, I guess is how what I want to say, it tends not to work very well for you. Katie Porter, a really good example. She was so good at what she was doing. But she didn't have enough experience to kind of make that jump from House Rep to Senator after such a short period of time in Congress. Val Demings, another one, amazing woman out of Florida. She also jumped too soon. And instead of it working out, they basically got shut out. And you know what? There are some really, really amazing up and coming Democrats. And I'm not suggesting that the older folks aren't a little stuck in their ways, but you want to be careful making jumps like that. Listen, as much as we don't like it, particularly in the United States, politics really still is an old boys club, an old white boys club at that, at that. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at Jasmine Crockett. She has such vibrant energy. She is wit smart. Oh my God, this woman is just a powerhouse. Here we go. Jasmine Crockett trajectory, Jasmine Crockett trajectory, Jasmine Crockett trajectory. Four cups. So this is sort of an interesting card, but it makes sense. She she is growing incredibly disheartened. disappointed in how little can get done under this administration with this political makeup. Make no mistake, she loves when she can outmaneuver or outsmart, which in some cases, I'm sorry, isn't that big a challenge. Republicans particularly, or people just in those Senate hearings or the House hearings, but it frustrates her because she grew up with the belief that the law was the law for a reason. And yeah, it could be twisted a little bit, it could be shaded, leaned a little bit, but you just didn't blatantly disregard it. And that, of course, is exactly what she's seeing going on. And on the one hand, it fires her up, but on the other hand, honestly, it exhausts her. I'm being told, she has a very long political road ahead. Her husband is a judge, if I'm not mistaken. And so she's getting some really good, not only legal sort of insight, but political insight. And she's going to stay the course. She's not going anywhere anytime soon. She has a mission and she's out to accomplish it. For her, it is about creating laws, creating the right environment for the benefit of all people. And those who are marginalized in any way take precedence with her, they take priority with her. So this is not about race, it's about the disabled, it's about veterans, it's about different ethnic groups. She very much is driven by the idea that the law is blind. It's supposed to be blind. And the more she gets exposed to politics and the ruthlessness of it and the corruption, the harder it is. But it creates in her an even stronger desire to push forward and move forward. She will not surrender to this. I'm not seeing I'm not seeing sort of danger, like physical danger for her, but she's going to want to definitely be mindful of her safety, security around her, that kind of thing. Right? Jamie Raskin. He's the constitutional scholar. Had a bumpy road there, man. He lost a son. He fought cancer. And he had a significant role to play in I think it was the second impeachment of Donald Trump. I could be wrong. It could have been the first. I don't even know anymore. I'm just waiting for the third. But he's a smart, smart man. And in some ways, sort of like a stabilizer within the party, right? It's like you can always count on him to have a level head, to be able to explain things clearly, and to be able to make statements and take actions that are important. All right, let's take a look at Jamie. Here we go. Jamie Raskin trajectory, Jamie Raskin trajectory, Jamie Raskin trajectory. Okay. He understands, I think, in a way that a lot of us don't, how truly transactional um, politics is. He understands that there are rules and there are guidelines, but he also understands a lot of it is theater, right? Um, and we see this all the time, right? Particularly with Republicans. They're standing up at a podium and they're screaming, I will never support dot, dot, dot. And then 3 weeks later, they vote for it because somewhere along the way, somebody said, okay, what do you want? Just tell me what you want and we'll make this work. And very often when they're screaming, I will not support, it's, I will not support unless I get dot, dot, dot. So he understands it in a way that I think a lot of, certainly us, don't. And I think to some degree, even newer political people uh, understand the depth to which it is that transactional. So it's interesting because in a lot of ways, he understands Trump in ways that other people don't. It's like whatever he does, when Jamie's looking at him, he's like, the first thing in his brain is, okay, what did he get for it? What did he trade off for it? What is he looking for? Yet he has that ability to just look at things that cut and dry, which makes him such an incredible asset. All right. There's definitely some sadness and some sorrow that Kamala is not in the driver's seat. Um, he he's really disappointed by the last election result. He was not only disappointed in the presidency, but he was disappointed in the fact that both the House and the Senate were lost. Um, and in some ways, it was a real blow. But what did it do? Eight of Pentacles. It created in him an energy and a fire to keep on going, to push harder, to um, not let up, not take his foot off the gas. He is very diligent. I would not be surprised. You know, it's funny. I don't necessarily see him taking the office of president. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in a cabinet position under the Democratic president. He has so much to offer, and it is sort of like he studies the ship, right? You know, he doesn't sort of go off on these wild tangents. He tends to keep things sort of level, and that's frankly a good thing. He knows how to get indignant when indignant is necessary, but overall, he's steady. And he feels that he recovered from cancer because his work was not finished. And he is determined to get it finished. So for him, I see continued upward status, if you will, and that's it. I just see him continuing to gain momentum, respect, and that kind of energy around him. It's really nice energy. Um, so there you have that. All right, let's take a look at OAC. Nope, AOC. Hold on, let me fix it first before I keep saying it wrong 100 times. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. All right, Now, she's another little firecracker. She um, has had enough time now that she has learned, particularly under Bernie Sanders' wing, she has learned that even though everything is important, you can't continually be in an aggressive fight mode, because then nothing is important if you're fighting everything. And she's learned how to sort of pick her battles and focus in on them, and um, and allowing that to be sort of a focus. Certainly, the no the rallies and things that her and Bernie are doing. What is it? A rally against tyranny? I'm not sure. But anyways, they're getting that message out. Part of it is that really has a lovely way of um, communicating. It's very, I'm just talking to you over coffee here. This is just what I think. What do you think? She has just a really nice energy about the way she speaks. And she speaks English. I don't mean that as in a kind of language. I mean the way she speaks. It's simple. Everybody can understand what she's saying. She's not fussying it up. And she has make no mistake, she has the education to do it. But she understands that that's not how people talk. And that's certainly not how she thinks she can get kind of a message across, if you will, or her message across. All right. Here we go. That one didn't want to shuffle. All right, then. Here we go. Um, AOC trajectory, AOC current trajectory, AOC current trajectory. Okay. High Priestess. Four of Cups. Interesting, right? Because that just showed up in Jasmine Crockett's reading. And the Nine of Cups. Alrighty here. So she she's about uncovering secrets, and finding out what's going on behind the scenes. But she's very, very good at keeping secrets. In some ways, she's developed the ability to sort of, how can I say it? She's enthusiastic without sort of wearing her heart on the sleeve, right? She's found that balance where she can be enthusiastic about something and energized, but without coming across as over the top, I guess. Which, listen, is something a man would never be accused of, but I'm not going down that road. For her, it's about what goes on behind the scenes. Because she understands that what goes on behind the scenes translates to what she is able to do and show and accomplish and speak about in public. So she is also very, I seem to be using the word transactional a lot lately, but there's a part strategic. Thank you. She's very strategic about the way she presents herself. She's very strategic about how she says what she says. And at the bottom of it all, in many ways, she just is appalled by the injustice that she sees all around her in 100 different ways. She, in many ways, is the younger female version of Bernie Sanders. And her politics are very much inclusive and expansive. And you bring everybody in, and that way everybody is protected. That's her thing. She has, with this Nine of Cups, she has a long, successful, accomplished road ahead of her. She is not going to jump too fast. She took notice of what happened to Katie Porter and Val Demings, and she is not going down that road. So she's going to settle in where she is, and she's going to bide her time. It would not, again, it would not surprise me um, to find her also moving into a cabinet position under a Democratic president. I don't see her running for the president, but I see her being a very vocal supporter of the presidency and whoever it is that ultimately ends up running. But she has a clarity, and she's also, her life has been, whether she uses these words, but she's able to manifest different aspects of her life in a way that frankly work for her. They suit her. She may very well term it, hard work and determination and focus. Absolutely. But it is that hard work, determination, and especially focus that go into a successful manifestation. But make no mistake, she is very much in charge of her image, of her life, and of her goals. So she's got a long, very, very successful road ahead of her. So yay, Alexandria, look at you go. Alrighty, let's take a look at Speaker. No, what is he? Minority Speaker of the House, I guess. He took that role from Nancy Pelosi when she chose to step down from that role. She is still a member of the House. I think San Francisco is her district, could be wrong. So let's take a peek at him and see how he's doing. He's well accepted within the Democratic Party. He paid his dues, right, under Nancy, right? He followed along behind her. He learned her wisdom from her experience, and he's now sort of working at stepping away from being under her umbrella to creating his own image, media personality. I don't mean that in a negative way, like how he presents himself to the media, thereby to the world. Let's take a look at Cory Booker and see what's going on with him. Cory Booker trajectory, Cory Booker trajectory, Cory Booker trajectory. He is not going to have the long tenure as in the speaker position, minority or majority. That's not. He's not going to get booted out or anything, but he's going to. This is fascinating. I think this card has just come up for all the Democrats, I think, or all but one of them. Interesting. Really interesting. Uh, all right. So for him, he has the Seven of Cups, Two of Pentacles, and the Four of Cups. Okay. So this is somebody who, this is a problem with Cory Booker. He does not appear. Hold on. Hold on. Back right up. Back up. I know you probably created 9,000 messages for me. I'm saying Cory Booker, but I'm thinking, what the hell is his name? The minority speaker of the House. All right, who am I reading on here? Okay, these cards are for the minority speaker of the House. I'm hoping his name will come to me in a second. Okay, I'm going to take a look at Cory Booker, so I'm going to do this really fast. I apologize. Obviously, I must still have holiday brain. Okay, the problem with him is that he doesn't have enough emotion. Not that he doesn't have it, but he doesn't project it. So he comes across as sort of bland, and he doesn't get everybody fired up. And that is something, honestly, that the Dems really, really need. They need to get fired up. They need Cory Booker's energy, right? He's not great at he has the experience, he has the knowledge, he has the wisdom. He doesn't have the right personality. Hold on one second. Sorry, that was making me crazy. I couldn't keep referring to him as he. So, Hakeem Jeffries, that's who I'm talking about. For those of you who are saying, how the hell can she say one name and like do a reading for somebody else? This is how. Because in my head, I was seeing Hakeem Jeffries, and you know what? My guide and my spirit, they often know what's going on in my head before I do, and with more clarity. That's how come. So the information is for Hakeem Jeffries, and I'm going to take a quick look at Cory Booker. But anyways, Hakeem Jeffries just doesn't have the wow, the pizzazz. He's very laid back. He's very calm. And even when he defends things, it just feels lukewarm. Okay. As a result, while he may have the experience or the training, he's not going to be really, really long for that position, because when it comes right down to it, one of the biggest problems that the Democrats have is marketing. They can't market their message effectively, and he is not the right personality. Um, and I have to say, in some ways, he's trying to find that balance between um, sort of the Nancy Pelosi methods and his own. But while he has a lot of training, he's not kind of comfortable or hasn't figured out what his own sort of style should be. So, yeah, I'm not seeing him having a lot of longevity in that role. I think that um, he may very well end up um, he's going to stay at the house for a while. I don't know that he's necessarily going to um, try to become senator, but I will say this, that he will be rewarded within the Democratic Party one way or another. All right. Cory Booker, Mr. Magnetic. He is the gentleman who just recently spent 25 hours on the House floor without stop. because he was making a point. Good for him. He has a very loving, very gentle energy. When I step into his energy, it's sort of like it's like a hug. It feels like he listens, like he cares. He gets it. And so that's his energy, which honestly is very different from Hakeem Jeffries, which is why I sort of got confused about what I was doing. All right, Cory Booker. Um, this is a man with a strong political future. Sorry, I want to, senator. He's a senator. I wanted to make sure at least got his title right. Cory Booker trajectory, Cory Booker trajectory, Cory Booker trajectory. The right Cory Booker this time, or the right name. There we go. Oh, this makes so much more sense. Alrighty then, here we go. The magician, the high priestess, knight of cups. Okay, this is somebody who, in some ways, it's sort of like a romanticized, if you will, version of how the world should be. But you know what? In many ways, it is his guiding light. Um, he responds from the heart. And then he brings in reality, logic, the maneuvering behind the scenes, um, it's like the guts of how to get something accomplished. And he has a lot of experience. I'm honestly not sure what he did before, but I feel like he was in politics before he entered federal politics. Um, he is also somebody very, very good at keeping his cards very, very close to the vest until he's ready to show you his, I don't know, royal fleshful hand, whatever that is. That's really good in poker. Is a magician. He has all the tools in the toolbox as he moves forward. And his trajectory is bright. I'm asking, and I can see him taking a run at the presidency, but I don't think this next time. In part because, he understands that right now there is such a tribal energy between the two different parties or the two different perceptions of the American people that he is very mindful of two things. One, the fact that Barack Obama was treated like absolute crap by the Republicans, and they made, unfortunately, no bones about the fact that part of the problem was that he wasn't an old white guy. And so Cory is mindful of that kind of racism. And in fact, much to his sad heart, he has seen it expand, explode into this place where it's almost acceptable behavior. And Kamala. right? He was another one who was really, really sad that that election turned out the way it did. He has a very strong soul, spirit, and he's very mindful of not stepping into potholes, right? He watches where he's walking, and he pays attention to what's going on around him, which is why it often seems like he almost like never makes a false step. It's because he's mindful, not only of himself but of his surroundings, of people. And he's got a long career. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he, for some reason, I'm hearing the word ambassador. Um, so it feels like maybe the next thing will be ambassador and then a presidency. I'm not sure. And I'm also not saying that the presidency is guaranteed. I'm saying it looks like he's going to take a run for it or will consider taking a run for it somewhere down the line. His energy is lovely and bright and full of optimism and full of promise. So he's right up there, frankly, with the rest of his Democratic cohorts. Alrighty. Thank you very, very much for being here. I'm going to disregard all the comments that you've already written insulting me for getting the name wrong. Just saying. Um, and I thank you so, so very much for being here. Comments, please, or questions, please, in the comment section below. I'm almost positive it's Joyce this week. Until I see you on Pendulum Friday, take good care and be well. Bye for now.